In the dark corners of social media, predators aren't what they used to be. They don't drive windowless vans or lurk in playgrounds. They sit in ordinary houses in ordinary neighborhoods, behind ordinary screens. But what they're doing is far from ordinary. In Peru, Indiana, one such predator had perfected his craft. He didn't just create a fake profile, he created an entire false reality. A wealthy young model who could offer teenage girls a glimpse into a world of luxury and fame. He saved their photos. He studied their friends. He learned their routines. All while sitting in his father's house, surrounded by devices filled with evidence of his activities. This is not the man accused of killing Liberty German and Abigail Williams. That distinction belongs to Richard Allen. But long before Allen's name was ever spoken in a courtroom, there was another suspect, another person whose digital fingerprint reached straight into the life of one of the victims. A man who lived 40 minutes away, hiding behind a screen, pretending to be somebody he wasn't. The afternoon of February 13th, 2017, started like any other day. Libby and Abby were dropped off at the Monon High Bridge Trail around 1:45 p.m. The weather was warm for February, a perfect day for hiking and taking pictures, and enjoying what should have been an ordinary Monday afternoon. At 2:07 p.m., Libby posted a Snapchat photo of Abby walking along the abandoned railroad bridge. That image would be seen by millions. The last normal moment before everything changed. Just 6 minutes later, at 2:13 p.m., Libby did something that would prove crucial to the investigation. She began recording on her phone. The video would capture a man approaching them on the bridge. His voice, chillingly calm, can be heard giving a simple command. Those 4 words would be the last known recording of anyone speaking to Libby and Abby alive. When the girls didn't show up at their designated pickup time, their families began to worry. By nightfall, that worry turned into panic. Search parties combed the woods around the Monon High Bridge, but as darkness fell, they found nothing. No one knew what happened. No one knew where the girls were. The next day, the 14th, at approximately 12:15 p.m., searchers would make a grim discovery. The bodies of Libby and Abby were found in a wooded area approximately half a mile from the bridge, and only one thing was certain. They had met a monster. On February 27th of 2017, law enforcement descended upon 67 East Canal Street in Peru, Indiana. Inside, they found 22-year-old Kegan Kline surrounded by his digital arsenal. One of the first sentences to investigators revealed quite a bit. "I'm fucked. I should have packed and left." The search would reveal an elaborate web of digital personas, but one stood out most: Anthony Schatz. Multiple electronic devices were seized: an Apple iPhone 4, an iPhone 3, a Samsung Galaxy S5, a Galaxy S4, a notebook tablet, and an iPod Touch. Each one a potential window into his predatory world. Days later, on March 2nd of 2017, Kegan would contact investigators about an iPhone 5C he had forgotten to turn over. This wasn't a simple oversight, it was calculated. Investigators reviewed all of the devices. There were thousands of explicit images and videos of underage victims. Search histories riddled with terms like preteen Snapchat and how to delete IP history. Snapchat messages soliciting meetups from girls as young as 12. Multiple devices wiped clean before authorities arrived. The iPod Touch was last used in May of 2015 and contains sexually explicit images of children. Locations for some of the images came back to Hammond or Royal Center, Indiana. One iPhone, last used in May of 2015, contained images of girls around the age of 14. The geolocation of the images came back to cities in Indiana, including Bunker Hill, Galveston, Indianapolis, Kokomo, Monterey, and Royal Center. A Samsung Galaxy phone, last used in June of 2015, contained sexually explicit images of children between the ages of 12 and 17. Another iPhone investigators found contained sexual images of children between 12 and 17, adults involved in sexual acts with children between the ages of 3 and 11, and images of drugs, as well as Kline with a black handgun. That phone was last used in November of 2016. The tablet was last used in March 2016 and showed conversations on Facebook Messenger and the user suggesting the conversations be moved to Kik Messenger or Snapchat. Another Samsung Galaxy phone recovered was factory reset on February 23, 2017, 9 days after the Delphi murders. A factory reset essentially wipes all user data from the device. Investigators were able to get information on the device after the reset, and it included discussions about meeting people in Las Vegas as well as prostitution. Another thing investigators were able to uncover was that on February 27th of 2017, Kline had contacted the police claiming he had located the iPhone 5. Investigators said they found images of females posing nude, but investigators could not determine the ages. Investigators also found much of the data from Facebook, Instagram, MeetMe, Snapchat, and Twitter had been deleted. A review of the phone found that hours after police released him the day that they searched his home, February 25th, he had uninstalled and deleted Snapchat and Instagram. The following day, MeetMe was uninstalled and deleted. The browser search history had also been deleted the morning of February 27th before the phone was turned over to authorities. In the shadows of the internet, where being anonymous can breed a monster, a predator crafted lies so elaborate that they became a weapon. This is not a story about a single crime. This is a decade-long nightmare, a digital hunt for innocence, a trail of shattered lives, and a justice system that waited while evil thrived. 17 years old in Peru, Indiana in 2011, while most teens lied about their age to buy beer, Kegan Kline was fabricating his first fake profile. But this was not teenage rebellion. It was the birth of a predator. By 2013, cyber tips would flood into the National Center for Missing Exploited Children. Someone in Kokomo, Indiana was impersonating a child on MeetMe. The warnings had begun and were ignored. Anthony Schatz, Kline's masterpiece. A wealthy Ferrari-driving model who dangled luxury to manipulate girls. Then came Emily Ann. Persona so vile, it weaponized trauma. Fake brain tumors, staged suicides, heroin addiction. Emily wasn't just a lie, she was psychological warfare. Trey Loren, a shadowy third identity, proof that Kline could slip into any skin. Each device Kline owned was a catalog. An iPod Touch mapped exploitation from Hammond to Royal Center. A 2015 iPhone revealed more victims. A 14-year-old in Galveston, another in Indianapolis, Kokomo. A Samsung Galaxy held images of children as young as 12. But the darkest discovery was an iPhone with toddlers, 3-year-olds being abused, and Kline grinning beside a black handgun. Investigators were able to confirm that on February 13th and days leading up to that day, Anthony Schatz was speaking with Liberty German. A conversation recovered from the Anthony Schatz account revealed discussions about meeting up that very day. The account would state to someone else, quote, "We were supposed to meet up, but she never showed up," end quote. During the interrogation, Kline would crack a bit. He said that he was there at the cemetery near Ron Logan's property, that his father returned with blood on his pants after being gone a couple of hours in the woods, that evidence was dumped in the Wabash River. But then nothing. 3 years. 3 years of freedom. 3 years while the Anthony Schatz profile became more active, hunting new victims. 3 years until Detective David Vito started looking back into this case and asked, why was this ignored? It wouldn't be until 2020 when they got to sit down with Kline again. I'm going to read you some of the transcript from that interview. Investigator: I know you say you don't remember a girl you talked to, but I know you remember Liberty German. Kline: I don't think I ever did, though. I think I talked to one of her friends. Investigator: You admitted you talked to her. You said you blocked her because she was annoying. Do you remember that? Kline: Yeah, right, yeah. Investigator: On February 13th, 2 devices at your house logged into the Anthony Schatz Snapchat account. Same account, different phones, minutes apart. Which 2 devices were these? Kline: I don't know. It had to be that Samsung Galaxy or something. Investigator: Why would you log in and out of the same account on 2 devices? That makes no sense. And when you were in Vegas, you searched Delphi double homicide, suspect identified, audio clip. You listened to the audio 6 times. Why? Kline: I was trying to hear the guy's voice, see what he said. Investigator: This wasn't just people dying. This was a girl you talked to. How do you not realize that? Kline: I talked to a ton of people. Once I saw her face on the news, I was like, whoa, what the fuck? You said you only talked to Libby at a sleepover, but we have the data. Snapchat, Instagram. It wasn't just a couple of hours. You exchanged pictures. Kline: I don't think I ever did. Investigator: That's a lie. The Anthony Schatz account sent her Ferrari photos and asked to meet. We have the receipts. And you said you remember talking to her. Kline: Well, that's what I remember, her being there, like with her friend, but I don't remember ever talking to her. Investigator: That's not what you said. You told investigators you talked to her the night of the sleepover. Kline: This is 3 years ago. I don't remember everything I told them. Why would I think about that? That was the most traumatic experience of my life. Them telling me I killed people? Investigator: I bet it was. Investigator: Why lie to investigators about it? 2 weeks after it happened, you said you only talked to her one night. Kline: Because that's probably all I remembered. I talked to hundreds of people. I don't remember one girl. Investigator: Just one girl that got killed. You wouldn't remember that? Kline. It's 2 little kids getting killed in a town right by me. That person's out here somewhere. Investigator. One of the girls you talked to was killed, including the day of. Kline. Okay then. A lot of people get killed and people talk to them. That doesn't mean I killed them. Investigator. You said you never sent her any images. There's one you sent, a Ferrari with a caption, sports car. Kline. Yeah, 'cause I have a Ferrari. Investigator. Well, Anthony Schatz did. Kline. Okay. Investigator. So Kegan Kline was not talking to Liberty German. Anthony Schatz was? Kline. Right. Yeah. Investigator. When they asked if you sent her images, you said no because Anthony Schatz did? Kline. No, because I don't remember sending them anything. Investigator. Here's 3 messages. Here's one sent specifically to her. Quote, "Is it bad that I'm super into you?" End quote. Kline. I'd say that to every girl. It was the same thing with all of them. Investigator. You said, I did not send Liberty German any pictures. On camera, audio recorded. Kline. I don't remember ever doing that. Investigator. I'm telling you right now, you did. Kline. Okay, you can think I'm lying, but I really don't remember it. Investigator. It's not about thinking. It's a fact. Kline. But it happened? Okay, yeah. Investigator. A girl told you. Did you hear about Liberty? And Anthony Schatz replied, OMG, what happened? That's you discussing the murders. Kline. I guess you're right, yeah. Investigator. She also said Anthony Schatz was supposed to meet Liberty German. Kline. That's a total lie. A total fucking lie. Investigator. The conversation log says otherwise. Kline. That's a total lie. Investigator. After failing the polygraph about the Delphi investigation, you deleted Snapchat and Instagram, the apps you used to talk to Libby. Then you searched, how long does DNA last? Why? Kline. I have no clue. Probably because they DNA tested me. They obviously have DNA on the bodies. Why else test me? Investigator. Why worry about your DNA being there? Kline. I wouldn't. It's just a common thing to freak out about. Investigator. If you knew your DNA wasn't there, why search how long it lasts? Kline. I wondered if the killer's DNA was on them, if they actually knew who did it. Investigator. That doesn't make sense. Kline. In my mind, if they had DNA, they'd know I didn't do it. If not, it's just weird. Investigator. You told investigators you were with your dad all day on February 13th, went to your grandparents' house at noon. Audio and video prove that's what you said. Kline. I don't remember everything I did. I probably was at his house. I told them I'd seen my grandparents a lot. Investigator. You didn't say a lot. You said 12 to 2 or 12 to 3. That's not I don't remember. That's a lie. Kline. No, he said that I needed to think about it. Further on into the interrogation, the investigators will turn to another topic. Investigator. What's your connection with the Smith family? Kline. I used to actually stay with them a lot when I lived in Galveston. Investigator. Stayed with Kline. The family. Jane was one of my really good friends in the 6th grade. Investigator. Do you remember talking to Lucy? Kline. I did talk to her, yes, back in the day. Investigator. Like you dated her? Kline. No, I tried to talk to her. That's an instance of me knowing a family. Investigator. A person associated with the Smith family was talking to Anthony Schatz. She gave an address to hook up. That same day, a guy in a ski mask was peering through her bedroom windows. Kline. Okay, so you're trying to say that's me? Investigator. No, but we have a girl talking to Anthony Schatz, then a ski mask sighting. Police filed a report. Kline. I don't remember her ever giving me an address. Investigator. We have evidence. The day before, your phone searched the Smith family on Facebook. Kline. Yeah, I see what you're trying to put together. I swear to God, I wasn't looking in someone's window. Investigator. You could have just gone over there yourself, but they don't know you're Anthony Schatz. Kline. She told me she liked me. That doesn't mean I'm in a ski mask. The cold, hard data painted a grim picture. In Kegan Kline's 2023 hearing, the digital whispers turned into screams, revealing not just what happened, but who was broken in the process. Picture this, a 13-year-old girl, her world collapsing around her, the beeping of machines marking the slow fade of her mother's life. In that hospital room, Emily Ann reaches out. Of course, it's Kline lurking in the shadows of the internet, manipulating this child to go into the bathroom, asking for photos and videos. And in return, he sends footage of a toddler being sexually abused. He would weaponize her own videos against her, promising never to show anyone. All while her mother is feet away, dying. His patterns were precise. When victims would mention a boyfriend or try to back off, Emily Ann would lash out with threats of suicide. She would say things like, I'm gonna go fuck for money, or I'm going to kill myself. It wasn't random. It was calculated destruction. Even from behind bars, his manipulation continued, twisting his own mother into a pawn, asking her to track down girls, one in particular with the initial T, a victim who had threatened to expose him. He would hunt in the profiles of friends and relatives, nearby towns, Kokomo, Indianapolis, Monterey. His victims weren't strangers. They were girls who could have passed him at the local grocery store. Girls whose addresses he systematically extracted through Snapchat. Girls who believed in Anthony Schatz, the wealthy model promising escape from their lives. Or who trusted Emily Ann, the manufactured friend who mirrored their deepest pain. And that's what made Emily Ann so effective. She wasn't just a mask. She was crafted. She was an instrument. She had all of this trauma she could relate. Brain tumors, dead family members, heroin addiction, stage suicide attempts. Each carefully designed to create dependency. When Detective Vito sifted through thousands of digital breadcrumbs, each one leading to the same sickening destination, immediate sexual demands, addresses, cash. It was a predator's checklist. In the months before sentencing, probation officer Kathy Knight peered into the mind of Kegan Kline, and what she found wasn't remorse. It was a blueprint of manipulation, even behind bars. He claimed he created Emily Ann because real women would ignore him. Girls contacted the fake profiles more, he wrote. Loneliness, porn addiction, childhood trauma, all excuses. But his admissions would cut deeper. I didn't want relationships. I just wanted nudes. His written statement: I wish I'd gotten a job, gone to school, gone to counseling. Yet, during interviews, his true colors bled through. He blamed his father, claimed Tony Kline couldn't use the apps, and then would flip-flop. Dad saw the child porn. We watched it together. Was that another lie? Just like the claim that police told him to delete the evidence? There would be 3 victim impact statements. Vincent Kowalski, the real face behind Anthony's shots, wrote about sleepless nights. Sickening is what he called it. The unnamed victim's words cut the deepest. He not only hurt me, but many others. I still struggle. Her trauma fossilized in Kline's chats, telling her, God is fake. No one will ever see these but me. Kline's apology was hollow. I didn't really know them, he would tell Knight. Of course not. They were pixels to him, collateral in a game. And even in custody, the games continued. July 2022, Kline's chirp messages, jailhouse emails, revealed a predator. He propositioned a woman for a threesome with his fiancée, who was actually a fan who had written to him. He was demanding money for interviews, saying everybody's making money off my name. Even in confinement, he was bartering trauma for commissary cash. He wanted Snapchat to communicate. The mental health claims were a sham. Kline had self-diagnosed himself as bipolar, schizophrenic. Jail records show that there were no diagnoses. After sentencing, Kline played the martyr. I'm a changed man. But Kathy Knight's report laid the bare truth. His devices held images dating all the way back to 2015, contradicting his 2016 start date. And victim 1's exploitation began as her mother lay dying. And still, he gaslit. I don't look at kids in public, as if being a predator requires eye contact. In the final hours of his sentencing, the prosecution delivered a damning portrait. This wasn't about convictions. It was about behavior. His criminality began at 17 years of age. By 22, he'd drawn 2 cyber tips. By 23, he amassed a library of horror. And after 2017 raid, he didn't stop. He evolved. The evidence, videos, images, toddlers, 3, 4, 5 years old. One showing a child's blank face as an adult violated her. 4-year-old on her hands and knees, behaving like an adult. These weren't crimes of passion. They were transactions. The prosecution went through Kline's excuses like a scalpel. They discussed a decade of his predatory ways. Victims under 12 years old and some barely out of diapers. When victim 1 had mentioned her boyfriend, Kline again threatened suicide. He claimed he wasn't attracted to kids, but loneliness doesn't explain toddlers. Porn addiction doesn't watch the abuse of 4-year-olds. Kegan doesn't look at children in public because he doesn't need to. He hunts for them in the dark. The prosecution's closing plea, 43 years. Not for justice, because there is no justice here. For containment, because his risk was immeasurable. His victims in the hundreds, known and unknown. The girl in the hospital bathroom, the toddler frozen on his hard drive, and the ones who will never come forward. Kegan will serve his time, but his victims serve life sentences with their trauma, their childhood memories forever tainted by a man who saw them not as humans, but as pixels on a screen to be manipulated, exploited, and discarded. And somewhere out there, in the dark corners of the internet, right now, are other Anthonys and Emilys, and they're crafting their own masks, seeking their own victims. And the hunt continues.